What is going on, YouTube? My name is FG3000. Is this really what my channel has become at this point, ladies and gentlemen? Is this me now? Apparently so. Welcome back to TALION, a brand new mobile MMORPG brought to you by Gameville. This game just released today, so if you do want to download the title, I will have the links in the description below. Now, technically, I covered this game nearly a year ago in closed beta, so if you want to know more about the game, you can always refer to my closed beta video. However, this game has been baking in the oven for nearly a year, so there's been a ton of streamlining, quality of life, even a brand new character class. So you know what? With global launch, let's go ahead and revisit TALION to kind of see what this game has shaped up to be as of today. So this is a mobile MMORPG, so there's a few things that you just have to kind of expect in this genre. The game does have auto pathing, auto questing, as well as auto combat. As you guys can see, I'm on my way to this quest called Kiki's in the Way, and as hard as I am trying, I might just fall into singing a Drake song midway through this video. I'm gonna try my best to, but there are a lot of Kikis in this game for some reason. So my character's gonna auto path over here to defeat these Kiki berserkers. It's gonna kill exactly 14 of them, and then auto path back to my quest NPC, turn in that quest, rinse and repeat. So that aspect of mobile MMORPGs is intact when it comes to TALION, but you know what? Just lately, as of lately, like a couple of months ago, I think my viewpoint on these games is slightly shifting, and that is based on AFK Arena. I know this game has nothing to do with AFK Arena, but hear me out. I am really enjoying AFK Arena, which is basically a straight up idle game. So I'm trying to take that same exact perspective and applying that viewpoint of idleness to these types of games, because at the end of the day, these are basically MMORPG idle games. So I'm trying to kind of look at these games from that perspective and that viewpoint, because at the end of the day, in these types of games, you're really just managing your gear, your character, min-maxing stats, and then knocking out your dailies and your weeklies. That's kind of the same thing you do in an idle game, and if I can appreciate it in AFK Arena, I'm going to attempt to appreciate it in mobile MMORPGs. Is TALION that one? I don't know. Let's find out. So here's my character. As you guys can see, I just completed a quest right here. You can auto-complete if you choose to, but it takes quite a while for the autoplay to kick in. So obviously, if you're more active and looking at your screen, you can do it a lot quicker. Just like in most MMOs, look at that. I can jump and do flippies. I'm playing World of Warcraft, ladies and gentlemen. Unlike World of Warcraft, though, I flip every time. And then once you've kind of walked enough, your mount will automatically engage. So that is that. Now, if you want, you can play these games manually, but for the most part, when it comes to games like this, they're designed to be autoplayed. The grind and all those, you know, the grind that is designed in these games is meant to be autoplayed. So that is that. So here's the outside world. Like I said before, your your character here will quest to all of the locations that you need to kill enemies. You'll kill them and go back to your quest NPC. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. There is more gameplay modes in this game. Now, one thing before we start talking about those gameplay modes, as you guys can see, the UI is actually pretty clean. Now, you guys know I normally call these games Red Dot Simulators. Red Dot Simulator 2019, ladies and gentlemen. But as you guys can see, not a lot of red dots here. Not a lot of red dots. All of basically your menu items are all housed in here, and everything is pretty nicely categorized. So you have your character categorization here, which is your bag, your skill, your quest, your Hall of Heroes and achievements and title. Everything that you need to do when it comes to your character is right here in the character tab. Especially the most important thing that you need to know about this game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to put you up on some pro FG3000 knowledge. Are you ready? Make sure you do this, because it increases your power level. I'm sorry. You know what? I don't need all my videos monetized. You know what I mean? Who needs all their videos monetized? That's just greedy. You know what I'm saying? So that is that. The UI in this game is very streamlined and very straightforward. You can dismantle gear that you don't need or sell it. In turn, you will get different types of tokens that you can use. So such as this weapon enhancement stone, I can use that, hit enhance, and that will hopefully make my Silent Knight weapon plus 21, and you do that for all your gear. Eventually, it'll get to a point where you need to limit break it, upgrade it, or inherit stats from other types of gear to, like I said, once again, to min-max your gear. That's what these games are really all about. It's character management, hero management, MMORPGs, but that's not as fancy, all right? But that's really what these games kind of boil down to. So that is that. Anytime you can hide your, you can display your costume, your wings, you can hide your helmet, you can hide your wings, you can display your weapon, all kinds of different things to kind of make your character feel like yours. This game has a really good character customization that I'm gonna show off in a different video, not in this one, because like I said, I just want to kind of give you guys a refresher, and I don't really want to rehash everything I covered in my first video. So that is the character screen. Now let's make sure our girl is still questing while we're showing off the other items here. The next thing up is your adventure tab. So here are all the dungeons that are in the game. So quite a few dungeons. You have story dungeons here. Once you complete a story dungeon, you can actually use quick clear tickets to kind of speed through them and to get the rewards very quickly. All of them do have power requirements and quest requirements, as you guys can see. Once again with the kikis. So many kikis in this game. Tons and tons of dungeons, as you guys can see. In addition to just story dungeons, there is like a kind of a resource grind dungeon here called Gob's Vault, where you beat up on these little golden goblins here and you beat all the gear out of them. Once again, you'll do that to upgrade. The game will give you lots of currency here in the beginning. As you guys can see, I have 14 tickets that I can go in here and do that with. So quite a lot of gameplay here. You have the Cave of Ordeals, which you'll go in here to get skill books. You have this research facility, which will allow you to get different research materials to upgrade mounts and things of that nature. And every different day, there's a different type of research dungeon that you can go through. You have your tried and true endless tower mode, which you might expect. You go up the tower, get lots of goodies. Pretty straightforward. There is an auto repeat and an auto challenge feature, which I definitely appreciate because sometimes these little tower modes can get a little repetitive because there is a reset. So this is a season-based tower mode. It's not going to just be one tower mode forever. So at the end of 2 days and 10 hours, this is going to reset and you go way down here to the bottom. I like season-based towers as long as they have quality of life features like the auto challenge and auto repeat, which I absolutely appreciate there. And then of course you have elite dungeons, which are your group dungeons. I'm not going to try to get into a queue right now because I'm actually really far ahead of most people. Yeah, pro FG, I'm telling you. I'm pretty far ahead of most people playing this game because I've been playing the game ever since it launched here in the US. So I'm pretty far ahead of the pack. So me getting the dungeon actually takes quite a while. So that is that. In addition to PvE, there is PvP as well. So at certain times of day, you have Deathmatch, you have Team Battle, you have Occupy, which is kind of like this MOBA mode, which hopefully I can show off in a later video. And then you have this big major clash here, which is like mass PvP. They have a thing called Field Boss as well. So there are different types of like world bosses out in the world that you can keep track of right here in this little UI. So this little boss right here is going to spawn in the next 19 minutes. So, you know, in about 17 minutes or so, I can path directly to this boss, kill it, get some coins, and I can turn around and use those coins to get myself goodies to make myself even stronger. So I can use those coins to get weapons. Of course, weapons that you don't use, you dismantle them to make your existing weapons stronger. Same thing with enhanced materials. Same thing with mounts. You upgrade your mounts in this game. Gold, you know, gold is like the barrier for everything. You need gold to kind of upgrade everything. And then of course jewels. So that is that. In addition to that, there are big raids, which I will not be able to show you because they start off at level 50 as well as 100, where you can fight this bootleg Jon Snow, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. And then there are event dungeons, which I hope they open up really soon. I don't know if I've played a game like an MMO mobile RPG that had event dungeons, kind of like a hero collector. So if that's what I think it is, I'm very curious to see what type of event dungeons they have. So I definitely might be back for that. And then of course there is your growth tab, everything that has to do with leveling up your character, whether it's forging your gear, jewelry, magic symbols, upgrading your mounts. As you guys can see, you have a bunch of mounts here in the game. They all have different types of gear that can be upgraded. And you definitely, I think, as far as I can tell, you want to upgrade pretty much everything you can because that provides passive stats all the way around. There are pets in the game called guardian fairies. There are also costumes in the game as well. So you can get different types of weapon skins. There you go. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. Look at this. It's like some cat paws going on over here. You also have costumes. Oh my God. Why am I? What? I'm sorry. Costumes look pretty good though. Pretty good. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Hey, that's nice. That's nice. PG-13. I don't know. I'm sorry. So that's that. And then, of course, like most of these games, there are also wings as well. So tons of selection here on wings. And the same thing applies. That's pretty cool. Same thing applies. Upgrade your wings. The more powerful your wings become, the more powerful you become. They all provide passive stats, etc., etc. The game does have a community tab as well, so you can have friends. You can exchange hearts with your friends. You can use those hearts to buy things out of the shop, which I'll show you in a second. Of course, there are guilds. Just like in most guilds, you can log on, you can give out free donations, gold small, gold large, or diamonds, which is actually cash shop currency. Keeps track of all your members quite well. So you can see exactly who was online, who's been offline. And then the more you donate, the more skills that your entire guild has. So obviously you want to join a guild as soon as possible. That way you can enjoy those auto stats there. There's guild battles, which I'm going to assume is just PvP versus other guilds. There is alliance. So this game kind of has a horde versus alliance type of system here. So based on your side of the alliance, your kills, assists, and honor is tallied up. And then once again, you can use the currency that you get out of this system to turn around and use it in the shop to get more goodies. And here's some ranking to kind of show you where you sit. So I talked a lot about shop. So here we are in the shop. There's a ton of different ways to get different types of passive upgrades throughout the game. Not everything is you going into a dungeon and getting gear. So for example, you can get these things called relics. These relics are very similar to like Clash Royale chests, where you sit them on these timers, come back in an hour and 30 minutes and the chest will open up, or the relic will open up and you will get gear or kind of goodies out of it. We're going to do one of those in this video here. The cool thing about this relic system is the fact that they're all unlocked. As you guys can see, all of the timers are running simultaneously. However, in this game, you only get one relic slot when you start, and you have to use your cash app currency to open up all of the slots. But I did that pretty quick because I wanted to. So there you go. Got some gear there, and I can go ahead and add that in there. So one day in 11 hours, this divine relic will open up, and I'll get some really quality stuff out of that one. So that is that. And that's the reason why I wanted to open up all of these slots as fast as possible, just kind of get that going. So that's that. The exchange shop is actually pretty cool. I like the fact that my character is just grinding in the background by herself. This is like I said, I'm trying to view this game through an idle lens. All right, that's what I'm trying to do. So you can take these shards right here, and let's say you get a bunch of shards for a mount that you don't want. You can use those shards to say, you know what, I want this bear. So I want to exchange my horse fragments for bear fragments, and then I can get enough fragments to unlock this mount. So that's actually pretty cool. It does cost a lot of gold for the exchange rate, but at least there's an option for you guys to use mounts, fragments that you don't want to get mounts that you actually do want. The same thing applies for the guardian fairies, and the same thing applies for costumes. So once again, to unlock a costume, you need to have a bunch of fragments, a certain amount of fragments to unlock that costume. But if you got a bunch of cheerleader shards that you don't want, you can use those cheerleader shards to feed into these commander shards to get the costume that you actually do want. So very nice. And more kikis. More kikis, ladies and gentlemen. This is a passive resource system here. Your kikis will be gone for 4, 8, and 12 hours. They're going to come back with resources. Pretty straightforward. The broker shop is your in-game currency shop. So the general shop is gold. Friend shop is your little hearts that you get from your friendship. Your guild shop is your guild currency. And your alliance shop is your alliance shop for your honor points and things of that nature. And then, of course, there is a cash shop, which we're actually going to cover in a later video. But this game has a diamond currency, which is your paid for currency, and it has a ruby currency, which is the currency that the game gives you for like completing events and dailies and things of that nature. And then there also is a mileage system in this game as well. So over time, as you spend things, you're going to get mileage, which you can then turn into buy things more directly. And that's pretty much it. Of course, since the game just launched, there's a bunch of premium packages and things of that nature going on. So that is that. And last but not least, system. So speaking of system, the game actually has a bank system, which I find kind of wild, because a lot of these games that I play, these mobile MMORPGs, they don't really have a lot of gear slots, but this game seems to have a ton. You have 200 gear slots here. Yeah, plus a warehouse. So it seems like you have a lot of inventory space in this game, including a warehouse, which seems a little bit crazy. But that is pretty much the overall flow of what this game is all about. So we're gonna go ahead and just end this off in this endless tower mode here while we kind of end our video with a proper outro. All right, so that'll do it. Once again, my name is FG3000. Look at my girl go. This is the best part. Now I can just go get myself a sandwich, and she will be climbing up this ladder pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and activate my magic stones here. And like I said, you can actually buy these in the general shop if you want to. I'm also gonna go ahead and pop 2 of my little buffs here as well, just to make sure I flow through this as efficiently as possible. There you go. So that will do it. Once again, my name is FG3000. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.